no place like the Q. Family, this is your favorite queer radio personality, Anna DeShawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment. This is your number one stop for queer news done right, only on E3 Radio.
Your diagnosis is not who you are.
Yes.
Before, I never thought that you lived past a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So to hear this young lady standing here telling me they're gonna take care of you, just like they did for me 9 years ago. She right there planted a seed of life, of hope, and chance for me.
Then I would just, cry and different. I was like, I'd rather have the diagnosis of cancer than this, because either way it goes, you could be walking healthy this day. If God forbid, or whenever my time comes, you can live, but you know what I'm saying? But my status is HIV positive either way.
HIV is just what draws people to me, but I got so much more to offer outside of HIV. So feeding his sheep is ministering to people, talking to people, helping them understand that you don't have to live in silence. It's a God that will comfort you. He will love you. He will protect you.
I'm living with HIV,
but HIV don't have me.
So I'm here to shine a light on it. It is what it is. Do what and what.
So family, that was the promo from my new series, Shine a Light on It, Black Women, HIV, and Its Impact. When I learned that Black women made up 50% of new HIV diagnoses. 50%, you heard me right. First, I was blown away by that stat, and I needed a moment to take it in. Next, I knew I had to do something. My something looked like my first mixed media exhibit of photography and videography, currently up in the Beverly Arts Center here in Chicago and on YouTube. I would love for you to check it out because their stories deserve to be heard. Honestly, the videos are fantastic, okay? And a link is in the show notes. QCrew, thank you for your continued commitment to helping me sustain this podcast. You helped me cover the costs of our editor, Ryan, who I quite literally wouldn't want to do this podcast without. So if you believe in the work we do, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, if you love and respect how I report on the news and tell our stories, join the QCrew. A link is in the show notes. And don't forget, we've got a queer news tip line open 24/7, 365. If you got a local news story that needs some amplification, a queer org folks should know about, a song coming out, come on now, send in a queer news tip. I love hearing your voicemails. I love hearing your voices. Okay, keep them coming in. Info on how to submit is in the show notes. Now for the news. In top news, I attended the Victory Institute's 41st conference for LGBTQ plus politicians from around the world in D.C., and even President Joe Biden attended. Let me tell you all about it. In politics, the Girl Scouts of the UK, they're called GirlGuiding, bans trans girls from joining the organization, and gender-affirming care for Georgia inmates is protected after a law aiming to cut it is struck down. In culture and entertainment, the U.S. received an F, a big fat F, on the 2025 Franklin and Marshall Global Barometers Report because of declining LGBTQ plus rights. Drag queen Pattie Gonia raises over $1 million for a more equitable outdoors, and gamers combat trans bans in esports. Let's get into all of it, okay? Let's go. In top news, the Victory Institute hosted its 41st annual International LGBTQ plus Leaders Conference in Washington, D.C. from December 4th through the 6th. Over 3 days, they hosted over 700 LGBTQ plus politicians and folks who want to be elected, okay, from around the world. And for the first time in history, a U.S. president came to speak. And family, it is no surprise that president is Joe Biden, as he received the Chris Abele Impact Award, recognizing his historically LGBTQ plus inclusive administration. Let's hear a little bit from him.
For 250 years, we've been a constant push and pull, an existential struggle between peril and possibility. We are one of the only countries in the world that time and again has come out of every crisis stronger than we entered into that crisis. We just have to get up. And there's nothing, I mean it sincerely, there's nothing beyond our capacity in America when we act together. So let's work together. Let's keep this fight going. Let's win it together. Now, not tomorrow, now. Thank you, God bless you all.
Let me tell y'all something. He looked good, okay? He stayed on track with his speech. He went off script a couple times and came back. His team is taking good care of him. And he's onto something. We must do the work now. We can't wait until another administration. No, the work is now. I had such a wonderful time at the Victory Institute. It's such a unique gathering. Let's be clear, I love politics, okay? I've always enjoyed politics, and as somebody from Chicago, politics can sometimes be even more entertaining than entertainment itself, okay? And so to be surrounded by folks that I report on, to be surrounded by folks who are making history every time they decide to wake up and go into a legislative body, to be surrounded by folks who are choosing courage in this particular way, right, was pretty dope. And let me tell you, being able to bump phones with V from Under the Desk News made my whole week. Yes, as a matter of fact, it might make my whole month, okay? Being in that space gives me a lot of hope. There's a lot of folks who want to run for office, make lasting change in our communities, who believe in our humanity. And it was really beautiful to see. If you aren't familiar with the Victory Fund and the Victory Institute, they are the only national organization devoted to electing pro-equality, pro-choice LGBTQ+ leaders to public office at every single level. These officials fight for equality in the halls of power, ensuring our community's voice is heard. And I mean every level, from a school board seat to a U.S. Senate seat, the Victory Fund supports those individuals. And so often, LGBTQ folks are the first in their districts, in their cities, to run for office. So sometimes there isn't a blueprint, and the Victory Fund gives them that blueprint. So, family, if you've never heard about the Victory Fund or the Victory Institute and you're interested in running for office, okay, shameless plug, go check them out. You might just find exactly what you need. Now, be on the lookout on E3 Radio's Instagram and YouTube feeds, okay? Because we're going to be posting the interviews that we captured while being in DC. And you all need to know who these folks are, okay? Hit the notifications button so you don't miss a thing. In politics, family, we got a win. A real win. Boom, 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 boom. Judge Victoria M. Calvert struck down a Georgia law aiming to eliminate gender-affirming care for Georgia inmates. Now, this law, SB 185, was given a permanent injunction, because the court found that the law violated the Eighth Amendment's prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment. SB 185 states that the law, quote, prohibits the use of state funds or resources for certain treatments for state inmates. Well, those words, quote, certain treatments, are really vague, isn't it? They love making these vague bills for their own devious purposes, okay? But when you look deeper into the bill, it reveals that the list of treatments and medical care that would be prohibited are mostly gender-affirming care. This all came about because 5 courageous trans people joined together to sue against the bill as they argued that denying inmates gender-affirming care was harmful to the inmates' health. Incarcerated people are legally supposed to receive health care, although what that health care entails is up to each individual state. This is a big win for the trans community in this age of legal battles against anti-trans laws, okay? We take a win where we get a win, and this is a big win. In an interview with The Advocate, attorney Emily Early had this to say, quote, gender dysphoria is a medical condition that is just like any other condition of diabetes or cancer that the state must provide minimally adequate treatment. that meets constitutional standards. She adds, quote, by banning treatment of gender dysphoria, the Georgia Department of Corrections and the private contractor Centurion are banning care that medical providers have determined to be medically necessary. And the Constitution requires that even prisons must provide minimally adequate care to individuals that it holds within its custody. Come on, Georgia. Come on, Judge Victoria M. Calvert. Okay, putting a permanent injunction on this. Family, I promise you, none of us are free until all of us are free, and they cannot just do whatever the hell they want. I promise these judges are holding the line, okay? So thank you. Thank you, Judge Victoria M. Calvert. In more political news, trans girls have been banned from joining GirlGuiding, which is the UK's equivalent to the Girl Scouts. Announced in a public statement, the organization said, following detailed considerations, expert legal advice, and input from senior members, young members, and our council, the Board of Trustees for GirlGuiding has made the difficult decision that GirlGuiding must change following the Supreme Court's ruling. From today, December 2nd, it is with a heavy heart that we are announcing trans girls and young women will no longer be able to join GirlGuiding. This is a decision we would have preferred not to make, and we know that this may be upsetting for members of our community. Family, the organization references a decision made by the UK Supreme Court back in April to overturn the Equality Act, which was passed in 2010. That act protected equal rights for trans women. The ruling was largely supported financially by anti-trans activist J.K. Rowling, who single-handedly killed, a whole iconic series with her anti-trans trolling. Following the ruling, the Women's Institute also announced that they no longer offer membership to trans women. GirlGuiding has not yet offered a plan for current trans members nor resources for the girls impacted by this ban. In their public statement, they said GirlGuiding believes strongly in inclusion, and we will continue to support young people and adults in marginalized groups. Over the next few months, they will explore opportunities to champion this value and actively support young people who need us. You know, these organizations are so exhausting because to say they are inclusive, yet crumble in the face of discrimination against trans people, makes one really think, right? Makes you wonder, who is really included in that inclusivity? Clearly, it is not our trans sibs. This decision in the UK won't affect Girl Scout members in the US, but with the recent uptick in trans bans in the States, it's probably only a matter of time, right? If our trans youth are rejected from these organizations, where can they go for this type of fellowship? Child, I ain't no Girl Scout, I never was. I'm not somebody to go outside like that. But there are plenty of trans kids who love the outdoors, right? There are plenty of queers who love the outdoors. We're gonna talk about Pattie Gonia in just a little bit. So where do they go for that type of fellowship? And honestly, this is why we start our own. This is why we start our own groups. If you don't want us in yours, historically discriminated groups have started their own. I'm sure a trans version of the Girl Scouts will be popping up soon enough. I'm sure of it. Now seems like a great time to take a break, don't it? And when we get back, we're going to jump into culture and entertainment. If you're listening to this, it means we didn't sell this ad space. If you're listening to this, it means running ads on our podcast can actually work. You see what I did there? Do you need some promo? A little amplification? Hit us up at info@e3radio.fm. That's info@e3radio.fm. We have a platform. You should use it.
The Queer Family Podcast.
Hey there, listeners. Do you like to hear real and honest stories? And do you also believe in inclusion and diversity? If so, I have the podcast for you. My name is Jamie, and I'm the host of the Queer Family Podcast, the show all about family, but with gay. I go in depth with weekly guests about how they built their beautiful queer families and how we all show up in a world that wasn't necessarily designed for families that look like ours. The mission is to uplift, highlight, normalize, and celebrate LGBTQIA+ families in all of our beautiful identities, and we do just that week after week. Tune in every Monday to new episodes. Find us wherever you find your pods. Happy listening.
Love is love on the Queer Family Podcast. Love is love.
Did you know we had a newsletter? Yes. The Queer News Podcast has a weekly newsletter that comes out every Monday. There's a special newsletter for the QCrew, but there's a free newsletter for absolutely everybody. So if you want to stay in the know about what I got going on, what I got to say unfiltered, and just a list of all the stories covered every single week with time codes, you got to subscribe to the newsletter. A link to subscribe is in the show notes. Welcome back to the show, family. First up in culture and entertainment, the U.S. has got an F. A big, fat F. Because the U.S. is failing LGBTQIA+ people quality of life. Quite literally. The United States has received an F on the 2025 Franklin and Marshall Global Barometers Report. Now, data collections from this report began in 2011, and since then the U.S. has had its share of ups and downs in terms of its rating. But since the 2020s, there has been a global backslide in the acceptance, protections, and quality of life of LGBTQ+ people across the globe. Last year, not a single country, not one country earned an A rating, and only one country, Iceland, earned a B. Over 60% of the more than 130 countries surveyed earned an F. According to the report, the U.S. has regressed in safety, human rights, acceptance, and violence. Meanwhile, a fear of police has increased steadily between this year and last year. The report also found that trans people experience the highest chance of violence amongst their peers. But you want to know who else got an F? Do you want to know who else is along the United States right now? Russia, China, India, Nigeria, Senegal, Ghana, okay? These are the countries that are in alignment with the U.S. on LGBTQ rights. Did you ever think we'd be here? Yeah, we all did. If Trump got elected, we knew we'd be here, but show is ugly, isn't it? Reports such as this one are vital to understanding and quantifying the trends in LGBTQIA+ quality of life globally. Child, a whole F. In more culture news, and I honestly didn't see this coming from the esports community, but bans on trans folks have expanded into that community as well. But this time, gamers are also fighting back. In a statement issued to fans of competitive gaming and the video game Dead by Daylight, World Cup organizer Fishkato announced that for the World Cup, they've decided not to allow transgender women to participate, but they hope to include them in future tournaments. Family, let me tell you what also annoys the mess out of me when it comes to these bans is that it's always trans women. It's never just trans people or trans siblings. They're always focused on trans women, as if trans men don't exist. It is just so infuriating. But let me digress and get back to the story, okay? Competitors quickly began withdrawing, though, from the competition in response to this newly added anti-trans rule. UK team captain and Twitch streamer Jiggledeath stated on her Twitter that, quote, "Unfortunately, I've been made aware that trans women are not allowed to participate, so I'm withdrawing myself from this tournament." She went on to say, "I stick by my community, and I don't want to take part in something which excludes some incredible women." Team Canada and Team USA also announced their withdrawal from the World Cup. Shortly after the withdrawals started piling in, World Cup organizer Fishkato was quick to issue an apology saying, quote, "We recognize, respect, and value the diversity of identities within the Dead by Daylight community and within gaming as a whole. Trans women are an important part of the scene and have participated in our previous tournaments where they have always been welcomed and respected. Their presence and contributions have never been questioned, nor has there ever been any discriminatory stance against them, end quote. But child, it's happening right now, and we're talking about gaming. Are trans women's thumbs different? I don't even understand what's happening here. The organizer then did not revoke the ban, but offered up more excuses as to why his decision stands firm. And he went on to say, in a global online tournament, we do not have reliable tools to ensure transparency and verification of every participant. For this reason, we had to make decisions under uncertainty, relying instead on the trust we place in team leaders and their players. The situation does not reflect a lack of willingness to be inclusive, but rather the absence of adequate mechanisms to manage verification in a fair, safe, and respectful manner for all participants. This is so stupid. This is when hate and discrimination just becomes stupid, like this fall in the realm of stupidity. This makes no sense. And as I am reporting on this, competitors continue to withdraw as this story develops. And I hope all of them withdraw, because this is just stupid. Now, for our last story today, we're going to end on some good news. Yes, because y'all know I like a good ice cream sandwich. We got good news happening in our community too. So we might give some bad because we got to report on the news, but we're going to give some good too, okay? Now, environmentalist and drag queen Pattie Gonia set out on a quest earlier this year to raise funds to make the outdoors more equitable. This week, she completed her goal. Pattie Gonia trekked 100 miles from Point Reyes National Seashore to San Francisco in full drag. Full drag, okay? She documented each step of the way on her Instagram, greeting followers after each mile completed. The now over $1 million that she raised will be divided up amongst 8 nonprofits with the unified goal to make the outdoors more equitable. In a post to her Instagram, Pattie thanked all the donors, 37,700 individual donations with an average size of $30. That is insane. And that is the power of the people. That right there is the power of the people. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't make a difference. Each of our 8 outdoor nonprofits are receiving $145,986 because of you. That is game-changing money to them, especially during a time when most every outdoor brand in our government is pulling funding. She continued with a heartfelt message about the power of being yourself. She said, "When I started being Pattie, everyone told me I was crazy. When I told people I wanted to do this fundraiser, people laughed in my face. 7 years later, and I hope I can be a little bit of proof that combining who you are and what you're good at to fight for the change you want to see in the world works. And if people laugh in your face or doubt your crazy idea, you're likely on the right path." Congratulations, Pattie, on completing your goal to make the outdoors more accessible for all of us. Family, you know it's time for Anna's Got a Word, because Anna's always got a word to close out the pod. And today's word is actually coming in the form of a question. Who do you want to be in the world? I mean, this is a question that I've been asking myself over the last couple of months with my coach as I look to put together a 3-year strategic plan, not only for myself, but for E3 Radio. And it's been a question I've been asking myself. Who do I want to be in the world? And in this time, in this moment, living under the Trump administration, again, looking at what's happening with ICE and snatching people off the streets and tearing families apart, and the Constitution being laughed at every single day from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Thinking about how me, as your favorite queer radio personality, as a social entrepreneur, as a community organizer, who do I want to be in the world? How do I want to show up? What does my work look like right now? So my word today is, it's time to do that introspective work, family. It's that season. It's that time to be reflective as we embark upon the next year in just a few weeks. Who do you want to be? Yeah, I'm working on it myself, okay? And when I find out, I'm going to tell you. Y'all take good care of yourself, okay? And I'll talk to you next week. Peace. If you've enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna DeShawn. Podcast editing by Ryan Woodhall, and brought to you by E3 Radio and distributed on The Cube. We are Queer News Done Right.